I'm paying attention to like my social media circuit and particularly Facebook at this time, and I have a lot of friends on there who are pretty radical with their thoughts, in terms of how they view the world and society and social issues and current events. And so topics like racism come up a lot. And what concerns me is that the community where I'm from, where I'm in right now, it's pretty much a community of people of intellects. And yet with this level of awareness and consciousness, there's still this grave concern and skepticism about racism. But it's not from a place of strength. Meanwhile, these people have books on their shelves. They've been exposed to information that they don't necessarily teach inside of school. This is a unique group of people. These are the alleged street scholars and scholars of the black community for the most part, although I have different races and people from all over the world on my list and different nationalities, but predominantly black people. And even from that scholarly perspective, all of the Marcus Garvey scriptures and writings with all of the Malcolm X's and the Martin Luther Kings and all of the different scholars that they've been exposed to, from those that you may have heard of and haven't, they are still radically worried and inferior to other races, in particular to white people. And one thing that I've done for the most part is set myself free from that. What I did was I decided to take information and use it to empower myself. And because, you can't stay a victim but so long, and you do what works. You do what works. And the fact of the matter is, if history or information still leaves you feeling very angry, still leaves you feeling very void, very pissed off at the world, very helpless, very much a victim, it's my fault. It's their fault, and they're just picking on us, and because we're black. And how can we grow and change anything from that perspective? Like, once you know, allegedly, that you come from pharaohs, kings, queens, the typical cliche of what we say. How can in one breath we say we come from this lineage or bloodline of powerful greats and peoples and civilizations, and we're from Africa and all these things, and with all of that information, with all the glorious information about our ancestors, how does that still piss you off? How are you still handicapped by knowledge once you know what your ancestors did? Once you know they built pyramids, because this is the usual story we talk about. Once you know that they built civilization, they built, our ancestors were the teachers for the great wonders of the world, and mathematics and medicine and education and government and architecture and all of these beautiful things that make the world what it is, and you're still mad. And when we take a look at the radicalism or the movements that have been built in that anger, whether they're Pan-African, whether they're social or civil rights groups or things like that, the ones that make us march and real pissed off and in blind rage, you tell me, what have we accomplished since then? In fact, when I think about the social affairs of black people today and now, I don't recall black boys being murdered in the capacity that they have. Yet the information is so free between the internet, between social groups, between Bloods, between Crips, between Nation of Islam, between the Gods and Earths, between the Chemics, between the Moors, between the Muslims, between the Christians, with all of this information that advocate righteousness. How is it that and historical data that proves our greatness, how is it that we are still so pissed off if I know my great-great-great-great-great-grandfather did these things, such as took with his raw hands, built wonders with no cranes, no new technology to pile bricks on top of bricks. You go to Africa or you go to parts of Europe and you're like, oh my God, They did that. Or you think about the railroads and the bridges in America, and you know your ancestors shaped DC, where you look at Google Maps and you can see an actual print of the strategy of how the streets and the blocks are perfect squares and triangles and circles in major cities. There's just a strategy of aligning the cities in America like they did the pyramids over in Africa. They aligned them to the stars. They use the same system that they built Africa and Europe and right here in America, whether you know it or not, even Newark. They built the cities strategically using sacred geometry. How are you mad about that? How do you find glory in wanting to punish yourself to go see 12 years a slave? If you've seen Roots, if you've seen all of these movies that promote the redwood or blackwood or whitewood, all the woods you can think of, anything that advocate a whip going across a black back, why would you pay $16, popcorn and soda? Don't tell me y'all ate popcorn and a soda watching slavery movies. Don't tell me you actually got the chance to munch on gumdrops watching somebody getting their behind thrown around or whipped or massacred. How is that entertainment? How do you feed yourself that knowing you know the history? How do you say, come on, children, we're going to go watch 12 Years a Slave? How? Oh, I forgot, because they got to know where they came from. That's not where we come from. That's not our consciousness. This generation today, we didn't go through that. We know slavery exists. Have you taken the youth or people to a movie that show our rise? Do you know any movies off the top of your head that shows our glory? And even if I showed you movies that pretty much was whitewashed, where it was us, but they kind of whitewashed, they made the skin a little bit this color, like Cleopatra maybe, or Sheba or something like that. Some movies that relate to Africa, or some Arab movies that's really talking about North Africa, which means blackness, right? Even if I told you that, how interested would you be to go see a movie where we're on the incline? How interested would you be to go see a black movie where we are in power? It seems like we'll spend $20 for one person. $20 for one person. That's just the admission. To go see us as victims. And you wonder why. You'll take somebody like Cory Booker. Now, I had a problem with Cory Booker. I'm talking to Norcas, and everybody know who Cory Booker is for the most part, because he is a celebrity mayor, or was a celebrity mayor. He's made himself known on the circuit all around the world, pretty much. So let's take our former mayor of Newark, Cory Booker. At one time, I had a problem with Cory. I had a problem with you, because I just wasn't understanding your program. And there's still some things I'm just not with that you have left or he have left behind. I'm not talking to him. That brother's somewhere else, and I don't blame him. But I understand now, because the reality is that in order for you to get where you want to go, you can't see yourself in no color. Power is colorless. Ambition has no color. Ambition just is. Ambition is just a spirit, right? You can't even see it. It's a force. So the minute a person label themselves black or white, at the time it's time to pursue a goal like Senate, he can't think about his blackness. In fact, if Cory was to have thought about his blackness going to pursue that higher seat, he wouldn't be there today. He wouldn't be there. Why? Because we equate blackness with struggle. We don't even see it in the circuit outside of bouncing a ball, whether it's pigskin football, pigskin basketball, without fumbling the mic on stage, without being drunk, without being in jail. The experience of blackness got to always be something dramatic in a horrible way. If Mr. Booker would have thought about the black experience that we just so label it as, he wouldn't be senator today. If Oprah did not release the fact that she was molested as a child, right? If she didn't release all of those childhood indiscretions that she'd been through, just to at least get to the next stage, she wouldn't be able to claim a billionaire status today. You see what I'm saying? Like, the minute you claim the downside to the human experience, as if no other race go through it, You know what? How about ask the Philippines how they're doing right now, considering they just went through a typhoon? Why don't you ask the Arabs, such as the Palestinians, or the Afghanis, or the people over east, or the Syrians, who got war at their doorstep right now? Why don't you ask the Iraqis? Ask them how they're doing. And if you tell me if it's just a black problem. Why don't you ask people in Kosovo, or Russia, or Ukraine, or parts of Germany, parts of Italy? Matter of fact, you know why some of the Italians are off the chain, like the Sicilians, the mob? Because when you study their history, they had struggle in Sicily. In fact, a lot of their villages were taken. The men were taken and killed as well. So you wonder why they thugging today, just like the black man is who's captive today. He's thugging, right? Russians who go through the same thing with their government with poverty. The Russian mob, haven't you heard of it? Haven't you heard of the Chinese mob? That is usually the underdog who struggled in poverty. It is not a black issue, cry baby. It is not a black issue, cry baby. You telling me animals don't go through nothing? You telling me animals don't have issues? You telling me animals are at peace right now? I don't think so, ask Michael Vick. By the black man who going through the same type of strike that I'm saying. Ask the water, is it happy right now? Do you know it's only like 10% drinking water left? Let's talk about all of nature. Since nature's not just blackness, let's just talk about all of nature, what the Creator made. Because the Creator made everything. And if you're going to talk about God, for all of you God-fearing people and understanding people, then you have to know that God is not just the black experience and our selfish crybaby struggle. God is everything. Everything conscious. Ask the water, is it happy, when it's 10% of drinking water left? You got to actually go to the Fiji Islands to get drinking water to sell for it to be pure alkaline. So ask me if nature is happy. Ask the air. If you could talk to the air with all the pollution, same tainting that we go through as a black, struggling, unhappy, downtrodden people. Ask the air, does it feel upbeat right now? With our sorry mentality, inhaling it and exhaling it, destroying it with our cars and everything else. Ask the air quality, ask the air, is it happy about its quality? You see, black people, you are not the only one that's slaves. Power is, power does, power is regardless to whom or what. And you think that the people, because it's more black people on the planet or original people on the planet, of course they'll be more prone to slavery because they are the larger population. But if you had an equal pie of all races on the planet, and soon maybe we will, then you will see that slavery or struggle is fair share. But in America, you will not know that because we're in this huge social experiment where all slaves exist. Because this is a melting pot of slaves, indentured servants. People who are fled from Japan to China, to South America, to Mexico, to Africa, who were all told at home that their home was no good enough or written with war. And they were told that the pie is here in America. And we got people like right up at International House of Pancakes, an African manager who came here at 22, 23 years old in North, only to be killed. How many Africans have we had killed in New York and New Jersey alone, thinking they were doing something better by coming here? You gonna tell me that it ain't no European tourists that came here and got killed, or people of European descent or Canadian descent that didn't die here too? Because everybody has been chased from their home for resources. Wherever there's resources, there's slaves. And that's the entire planet. To feed us, though. The very victims who cry about slavery, we're eating all of the foods and using all of the products that come from these places that sponsor slavery. So what are we saying? Ask the Hawaiians, what were they subjected to? Everybody has a story. And all of them who understand that this is not just a black issue, this is a universal issue. Because everybody from every nation has a piece of power. The Africans, the Haitians, all of them have somebody in their island or their countryside milking them. Everybody, even the white man, even Iceland, even Greenland. You go study their politics and you tell me if they don't have something ruthless going on in their government. Of course they do. Because in order to establish power, you gotta pursue the whole world. Wherever there's an opportunity for somebody to wake up, which is anywhere in this world, you gotta go after them. And that's not just an African thing. How dare us believe that? And if you have a problem with what the Creator made, whether it's a white man, a black man, you got a creator with God. Because God made everything and everybody. And when you say you love God, you love it all. You understand it all for what it is. That is divine reasoning and divine thinking. When you think like a slave, you'll accomplish nothing but things out of slavery. Tell me, if we thought like gods for a change, what could we accomplish? Well, get some advice from those who act like God today. Your doctors who you think is responsible for your health. Your pharmaceutical companies who you believe is responsible for your wellness. Your government who you believe is responsible for how you survive. Those who you believe are your gods. Maybe when you stop thinking as another man as your God, you'll be able to really understand on a conscious level who God and what God really is. But all of that is in your way, and yet you proclaim that you know. No, you don't. There is no racism when you know God, because God is all of that. Good, evil, uncomfortable, comfortable, black, white, yellow, red, brown, dog, cat, water, air, sun, moon, star, alien, UFO, universe. All of it is relevant. All of it is relevant. I'm going to close with this statement. There's a new movie out. Again, another one. 12 Years a Slave. We got rid of that. Let's talk about this real quick. The movie with Ty Diggs and them, Best Man 2 or whatever. Best Man Holiday. I saw a post on my Facebook where they had Tay Diggs, the three of the cast members with their women, their real women, not the women that they portrayed within the movie. I assume it's black women. So they have a picture of circulating around on Facebook with these men who really have white women in their lives. These black men, the cast of Best Man Holiday, have white wives for the most part, or girlfriends. And so there was a thread in regards to that, to point out that fact that this is what they really got as wives behind the scenes of the Best Man cast. So, you got some black people on there that's like, yeah, that's messed up. You know what I'm saying? They got these white wives, they ain't got no black women. Step out of that seat for a second and think about this. Yes, those black men have wives or girlfriends other than black women, right? And you can say that's a shame, that they're married, or if that's your opinion, that they're with these white women. But what do you think white men are saying about their white women? Don't you know that they're on the same side as you? That's why we're more the same than we are different. If I'm right here as a white man looking at the same picture of Tay Diggs and with these white women, and I'm a black man or woman sitting on this side and I'm looking at the same picture, we're both going to have the same argument. We're both going to be complaining if we're racist or inferior or think we're superior. We're both going to have a complaint about our people dating the opposite race. We're both going to be dissatisfied about that choice and decision. My point is, it's not a white problem. It's not a black problem. It's not a problem at all. Obviously, things are going in the course that it's going because it's supposed to. If you didn't control the social affairs of it and it's happening more dominant than what your complaint is, that means it's meant to be. And the only way that we can control the outcome that we desire for life, let's say you can't control this lifetime because you just don't feel empowered. The best we can do right now, life is DNA. DNA is powerful. DNA is like this recording right here. It's a recording. It's a tape. It's a tape of your life. When they want to find a killer, they find them by DNA. The recording of who and what they are, right? The best we can do in this life is live it to the grandest experience, to the highest experience. Because if DNA has anything to do with memory and tape and recording, then the best you can do is live the highest and the happiest way that is meant for your destiny and life path to live. Don't suffer to what society says. How do you feel about life? At purity, without the influences and historical things that taint your thinking. How do you feel about life? Purely, without the interferences of your social networking group. What is your cause? Why are you here? And if you live it, are you happy? And when you record that experience, because so many people die in these streets incomplete, never fulfilling their goal, never reached their dream, never, ever, ever had the chance to release that trauma that they were dealing with as a child, as an adult. They left up out of here in that ground mad, pissed off. They ain't even resolved it. The last time their facial expression before they got shot was this. And that's the memory that they gonna go down with. But if we just record it like this, at least, peace, then what do you think this energy will return as? If everything is 360 degrees, it comes back. Peace. When we say rest in peace, we mean that. And the only way we know that we're going to secure resting in peace is if we live in peace. You cannot change things that ain't meant in your design to change. You can only change you. And when we focus on our individual selves, then we begin to infectiously change everybody around us. If they like what we are and we magnetic and it's truth, truth brings people to you without you having to go to them. That's why I'm sitting here today. I didn't call for this. I was called upon, because that's what truth does. Bring the crowd to you. So there's nothing you have to do but raise your vibration, change your thinking, open your mind. You know what I'm saying? Make things in a positive light that you want to see for your life with understanding why everything is negative. That is meant to be to shape and build our character. That is meant to put us to a test to constantly build our spirit to God's status. And if you don't have nothing to challenge you, what are you going against to improve? That is the measure. So you can try to think you can eliminate God's struggle towards you if you want. You can call it the devil all you want. You'll still be talking about God, because it's all of the above and it's meant to be here. And if you make peace with it now and today and live according to that truth, you'll vibrate higher. And mankind will begin to change, and then mankind will treat nature the way it's supposed to. But as long as we keep thinking like slaves and victims that everybody suffers from, if everybody raises their vibration and understand we are all part of God's premise, we'll rise and we'll change the polarity of what Earth is actually experiencing. Because everybody, to me, seems to be more in a downtrodden state as a collective than as in a God state. If you want to reflect God, love, and understand it all, you don't have to agree, but you must understand. It's beautiful, SeeAsia. Peace.